Hello, we're going to be discussing our Lifelines information for this school year, also known as our suicide prevention information, as what's asked for by the district. So, as we look at this information, please remember that we'd be willing to assist with anybody that hears a threat of suicide, and that is whether it's a student making a threat or a member making a threat. Either which way, uh, we would like to know about it, and of course, step in and help as best we can. So, suicide ideation, prevention, and referral is something that is a review for most of us. However, we do have some new people here on the campus, and then some of us might just need a little bit of a refresher as far as what do I do if I come across a student making a suicidal threat. And so that's what we are going to discuss today. All right. Some information quickly in regards to suicide rates and what we're looking at. You may have tuned into the news over the last few months or not. But some things that were mentioned in the news were the rates for suicide attempts beginning to increase. And there was a lot of speculation as to why. There's no research based and peer reviewed documents that I could cite right now as a counselor that directly shows the correlation between what we experience with COVID 19 and increases in suicide rates. But what I can tell you is that the trend is one that isn't exactly new. So you can see here for persons aged 10 to 14, suicide rates increased in the decade from 2007 to 2017, while homicide rates declined. And so you say, well, that's some good news. Somewhat, because of course we don't want people hurting others, but we can see here there's a problem with uh, some people thinking that it is an acceptable thing to hurt themselves. As a matter of fact, we were looking at a drop in the suicide rate in students aged 10 to 14 and thinking that, hey, this might be something good. It declined from 2000 to 2007, but then nearly tripled from 2007 to 2017. So that increase is something that, of course, is not anything that we were hoping for. And as much as possible, we would like to get those numbers down. The information that I discussed with you today does come from the Centers for Disease Control. You can visit their website for more information. One more bit of statistical information for you again from the CDC. We can see that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. In 2018, well over 48,000 Americans died by suicide. And in 2018, there were an estimated 1.4 million suicide attempts. Mr. Caceres, what is the difference between this information that you are discussing with me? This is the number of people who thought about suicide, participated in the act of suicide, and died. This is the number of people who had suicide ideation, ideas of suicide, and that information was reported. These are suicide attempts. However, not all suicides were completed. Thoughts and threats of suicide may include: 1. Causing or attempting to cause self harm. What is self harm? That is when you harm yourself, or you hear of somebody intending to harm themselves or having harmed themselves. Number 2, making a verbal threat to cause or attempt to cause self harm. I have not harmed myself yet, but I have said out loud that I'm planning on doing so. Examples might include cutting, um, causing somebody or causing oneself to continuously vomit, alcohol consumption for underage students, and other types of risky behaviors, especially those whose intent is to cause self harm. Making a written threat to cause or attempt to cause self harm. Perhaps they wrote a poem, perhaps they sent a text message, perhaps they submitted an assignment in which it can be seen that an attempt was made or the idea of suicide is present with the student. Number 4, making plans to cause self harm. For example, giving away possessions, saying goodbye to people. Suicide prevention. Suicide ideation, prevention, and referral. Seconds count. Suicidal ideation means thinking about killing oneself. Suicidal ideation is a risk factor. If you receive a threat of suicide, please listen first if possible and away from others. Next, refer to a counselor with the name of the student and details from the threat. You may email the referral to the counselor or contact the main office in case of emergency. The counselor will make sure that we do what we can to keep everybody safe and informed. The counselor will also communicate with the custodial parent and the administrator. So, to kind of sum things up, if you receive a threat of suicide, either in written form, verbal form, any form, please take the time to listen. If possible, you want to not be around other students or staff. I know that might not be possible, but if it is, take advantage of that. And then you want to go ahead and report what you heard to your counselor. So for the third through fifth grades, that would be myself, Mr. Caceres. And then for the lower grades, pre-K through second, that would be Miss Oscos. If you want to be a little bit safer, email both of us. And if neither of us are available, then please do contact the main office if you feel that it is an emergency. Remember that seconds count, and that our students count. And as we remember these things, we do not want to forget that we also count. So if you are feeling like you might need some additional help, if you would like some clarification on services that are available to employees, then please do reach out to either myself or Ms. Oscos. Thank you.